to week 26 of What Did Prince Do This Week? We got a lot to talk about today. And before we get started, we want to give a very special thanks to Arthur Turnbull for holding it down last week with C. Lee McGinnis and Ricky Wyatt. I so appreciate you guys. And let's see, what am I doing here? And we're so happy to have the one and only Michael Dean back in the house.
What up, what up? We're trying to survive the colds and all the stuff that little kids get you.
Yes, we love the kids, but they come with this stuff. Yes, indeed. So we have so much to talk about, but before we get started, we want to make sure that we give a special shout out to Cassandra, who is first in the chat and who I got to see at Celebration last week. And yes, fresh back from the Purple Mecca, ready for our reading today. That's what's up. We got Nick Felden from Denver. We got Kimberly, hoping everyone that went to Celebration had a great time and avoided the dreaded COVID. I actually didn't get it, so I was excited that I wasn't in that number because I've already had it a couple of times and I did not want it again. Did my testing in a couple days and I'm fine. But I didn't go to a lot of the dance parties or there was a lot of people. I also sat away from people and all sorts of stuff. So I try not to be in the crowds.
I think I might have got it for you somehow. I jumped through the wires or something. I didn't even go to Celebration.
Through the quantum celebration realm. Yeah. And welcome, Christina. It was so great to meet you in person as well. Happy to be back. It was so great, Drea Dances, to meet you in person. Yes. Happy birthday to both Hannah Welton from Third Eye Girl and to Drea Dances' dad. Celebrating both of them today. We got Real On DJ who did their reading because their avatar has the family. That's what's up. Let's enjoy as if sexy never left. That's right. We got Anna B. Yeah, so we're going to have a special guest that's going to be joining us later to talk about all things Celebration through what I call a beginner's mind. I really love hearing from people. And Michael Dean said it's all about the children or the new fams who are joining us. So we have one of those. So I'm very excited about that. Welcome, TP. Welcome, Shalimar from Michigan. Welcome, Arling Oak. Happy Saturday. Welcome, Purple Cap Confetti, my Purple Prince Family Book Club. Ooh. I never tire of the song. All right. We got SMS 130. Hey, Purple People. We got Kyle Christian in the house. We got Barbara Y. And yes, we're so happy that you can catch a live show. Good morning, JD Washington. You are appreciated. Welcome, Purple Saints, KMS 1984. Welcome, Vanessa. It was so amazing having dinner with you in Minneapolis. That's right. And we have Suzu's Petals. Glad to be here live. We love it when you guys are here live. Oh my God, Michael Dean, I got to meet Chris Bournet in person at Celebration. Amazing. Yes. You're welcome for the Erotic City 40. All right. And yes, thank you so much. And we got Mooches, and it's always great to see any photo of Vanity. Thank you for your avatar. We got Man Ray 10. Yes, we got Stone Freak. I also got to hang time with not only Vanessa, but also Simon and also Tanja all through the night. All right, and we got a little small love sexy. And we have our special guest in the morning, Theo. House of Theo, good morning. Theo will be joining us later to talk about their celebration experience for the first time. I can't wait.
Wow.
I'm so excited. But we got so much to talk about what did Prince do this week. First, welcome, Kim. You were missed. You were missed because I remember last year when we were able to have a meal at the Smack Shack in Minneapolis. We got Myron. That's the name of it. Michael Dean, Smack Shack. Yeah. And we got Gisela from Germany. Yes, it was so awesome to meet you in person in Minneapolis. And Stone Freak didn't get the Rona. Neither did I. That's right. You know, we have Sitnick Productions. We got Karan Jones. Peace. We got, let's see what Cassandra's talking about. Oh no, I got COVID while at celebration and went to the parties, but it wasn't bad. Well, I hope that you're feeling better, Cassandra. I really, really hope you do very, very soon. And welcome, Ronald. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, and yes. Oh, Mooches from Philly. We got to say that because we love Philly. And also got to hang out and share a meal with Audria. So amazing. And let's see, we got Tommy from Amsterdam. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And yes, thank you. We've got work to do. That's right. And let's see, Blay Brown, my alliterative brother, top of the morning. And let's see. Anna B is saying deep breathing exercises clears the lungs during respiratory illnesses. Thank you so much for that tip. And thank you, Purple Cat Confetti. Love the photos of you at celebration. Thank you for that. And El Michelle, good day. So many people. Mr. Oshun, holla. Yes, great seeing you as well. Always in person. Yes, Mac Shack is the spot. Miss Rona ain't playing around. And actually, this was one of my favorite moments during celebration. I don't want to start talking about celebration because we have so much to talk about in terms of what did Prince do this week in 1984. But I loved how honest and open that Morris was. Was one of my favorites. He basically said, Michael, that, you know, it just doesn't feel right with Prince not being on the planet. And I so connected to that. He was like, you know, they didn't talk as much in their later years, but he just was happy knowing that he was somewhere on the planet and now he's not. And that really touched me because he didn't say it one time, but he said a variation of that a couple of times. And you could tell that he meant it. And we have Oscar from Argentina. Welcome so much. And we got El DeBar in the house. Yes. Okay. Yes, it was crowded in the State Theater. And I'm glad that you don't have COVID either. Yes, Tanja, we had a great time. Okay. All right, Simon. Maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good advice, I guess. Andrea Dance was saying I was happy to be there, even for a day. Yes, being in Minneapolis is so important. And we got a special shout out to Michael Dean.
What up, Claw?
Yeah, what up, Claw? And it was amazing watching Arthur, Celie, and Ricky. If you didn't watch that episode, you should definitely go back and watch it because it definitely has a different vibe. It's very, very nerdy. So if you want to get your purple nerdum on, that's the episode for you. And okay, Ray1 has their Purple Rain 4K movie. Y'all get yours. What you got to say about that, Michael Dean?
Absolutely beautiful. You got to see it. That's all I can say. You got to see it. I'm purple rained out in a good way. And what I mean by that, I'm just say it right off the top. Purple Rain's best Prince album of all time. I'll explain maybe later, but yeah.
You can explain it now, even though we are going to talk about Purple Rain album because technically this week in 1984, the Purple Rain album was released. So we're definitely going to talk about it. So you can talk.
I would just say the Atmos mixed version of it. And this is my first time ever hearing something like that. Yeah, it for a person who's listened to that album thousands of times. It was an eye opener, and I don't say that lightly. Like I don't want to gas it up, but
Yeah.
I heard that album in a way that never heard it before. You can actually hear the album. Well, the easiest way I would say it sounded like it was a 70s album to me, if that
Huh.
makes any sense sonically.
Yeah.
Just you could hear everything.
Hmm.
You can hear the complete songs. I question, I don't know if he actually heard it like that when he's recording it,
Yeah.
but whatever they did, for whatever reason, on this, it sounds immaculate. That's how I can describe it.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to it that way. It's been hectic because of like coming back this week from celebration and work and all that, and I wanted to give it a proper listen as well as a proper watch, of the 4K. Even though we saw the 4K during celebration, I just want to see it on my own sound system, and experience it that way. So let's see. We still have a couple people. Yes, Angela. We got to say hello to Angela. It's always a pleasure representing the West Coast with all things Prince. It was so great seeing you. It really was. And I was about to say, where is Mila? But Mila is here. Good morning, my heart. It's so great to have you here. And Christina, in terms of Morris Day, said that touched me too, knowing that Prince was always around. This is funny. So Ty just said that they were landing in Minneapolis when Arthur, C. Lee, and Ricky went live, and Ty just said they went nerdy deep. That's pretty funny. And Atria ordered the 4K today, and yes, Christopher is saying that Dolby Atmos Purple Rain album, though. That's right. That's right.
A revolution. That is a true revolution.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I
sure.
can't imagine what the other albums must sound like with that treatment.
Yeah. I mean, Diamonds and Pearls sounds amazing.
I've listened to that one.
Yeah, no, it doesn't compare to the
Some
Purple
of it, some of the thing about the Atmos, I don't know a lot about Atmos, to be honest, but there's certain songs that I've heard it on and it don't work to me.
Yeah.
And there's some songs on the Diamonds and Pearls where it sounds off. Like it makes the song, it brings something else forward up front to the song that I think it's not supposed to be. But some of the stuff on there sounds brilliant. But for whatever reason, on the Purple Rain one, it doesn't have that issue. Like, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you can hear the entire song, like every instrument. And you can see how musically he really was.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you listen to those songs like, man, were we listening to Dumbed Down? Or like I don't know, it's just weird. The songs sound different in a great way. You can hear the instruments that when you used to do deep listens to songs and you would listen with the headphones and you go, I can kind of hear it is as if the entire thing is like that. So you don't have to, it's not a deep listen. You just hear everything. And you're just like, oh, that part is in the song. Like, oh, he's singing like that in the song. Sometimes you can hear it, maybe it might be a little off note or something, but yeah, it's vicious musicianship. I think that's the key difference. Purple Rain and Diamonds and Pearls. Prince was vicious at this time. And
he was hungry. He was on a mission.
Yeah, it was just like that's why I say the musicianship. You get a true sense of how they really sounded. It almost sounds when you hear the songs live and they seem to come alive. They do come alive on the record. You can finally hear that, like, whoa.
Wow, now you just struck a nerve right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
for me, song,
the song Purple Rain itself sounds like a hard funk rock jam to me, as opposed to what I always envisioned how it sounded. It sounds bananas. It's a super aggressive song.
Huh. I can't wait to experience that. Thank you so much for hyping me up. I mean, I was already hyped up to hear it because I just love the Atmos treatment, and I hope that all the albums get that treatment, because especially like something like Love Sexy, because there's so much going on. So
I would love to hear a parade like this. to hear the richness.
The richness.
That's what it is. It adds a certain richness to it, where it sounds like you're in, and it's vicious. That's the thing. It'd be one thing he's just kind of playing, but it sounds vicious, like it's aggressive. Computer blue. You be
art.
I'm trying not to overhype. I'm trying to calm down.
I think you've hyped it. I mean, but in a good way. I think it's important that all Prince's music is amazing, and just any time that you can listen to it with new ears, I think is super important. So I can't wait for this experience, especially since I'm getting, like the high five from the one and only Michael Dean. And it sounds like it might be time for Big Sexy to come visit to talk to us about Atmos.
And let me say, you don't need nothing crazy to listen to it.
Okay.
I downloaded Apple Music for the first time on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Same headphones here. Actually, it's not even the same headphones I listen to them, just regular headphones. Make sure you enable the settings.
Mm-hmm.
And when you first start, you're gonna be like, Duff. And buckle up. And then the other cool thing, I'm gonna stop talking. There are so many other dope albums on there that have that too.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Brown Sugar album.
Oh no, it has an Atmos treatment.
There's a lot of albums that got Atmos.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's the one.
Voodoo.
Yeah.
Thriller, of course. Anyway.
Yes. I mean, this is what this is about. I mean, like we talk about music a lot on this show, but if I had my druthers, we would just listen to music, because that's what it's really all about, is the music. That's the reason why we're here. And that's what's with us when we can't be together. And the music is so important. So thank you, Michael Dean, for our music break in the beginning of What Did Prince Do This Week? Oh no, someone stole Tanja's PR4K. I'm assuming off the porch or something. Like, that's crazy. And then we're gonna say hello to DMSR. And then and Raywin agrees. Purple Rain Dolby too sounds good. And Blake Brown says, I love that you can hear more of the imperfections now. And this is funny. Real Line of DJ is saying, I'm not Dr. Fink, but there are 90 plus vitamins and minerals that we all need daily for all of us who might need some health message. Let's see. Raywin is saying is no Apple. So Apple Music is Apple Music and Amazon Music is Amazon Music.
I think he's saying that the Atmos are on those two platforms.
Oh, yeah. That's what he's saying. That's right. I haven't, I guess, I'm too excited. So Tanja's waiting for their replacement to arrive. And then, let's see.
Apollonia. You thought you looked drop dead gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And a 4K, it's just like, I thought you were like come out the screen or something. It's just like,
wow. Okay.
Like, and I'm not talking about the Lake Man talk. I'm just talking about just in general. Like, they all look extremely beautiful. It's just like, they're young.
Yeah.
See all this stuff on their face.
I love this comment from Raywin that they should also do Sign of Times on Dolby Atmos.
That would be ridiculous.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll be ready for that one.
Woo. Yes. And Stone Freak was saying Diamonds and Pearls. This is a good point. Love you, Simon Stone. Diamonds and Pearls was recorded digital, so the Dolby mix will hit different on processing. Very good point. And yes, 1999 Dolby Atmos would also just all of them. Yeah.
Let's Dirty Mind Atmos would be hip. After what I just heard from Purple Rain, if it might change the sonically what it sounds like, but
yeah,
ears to hear all the stuff.
Yeah. And I love this. It's coming from Chris Burnett. Even listening to Purple Rain in the rental car on the drive to Celebration, I heard different things in newer speakers. So, and let's see. Michael Dean is telling no lies. Sounds incredible. Vicious Musicians. I am so behind in the comments, but I'm trying to get everyone because it's all about the community. So welcome, Annie Ward. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let's see.
I see you, Blake Brown. Yeah.
I love this comment. So it brings out the breathing in between notes, the feet hitting the pedals and the fingers on keys and strings, and those Atmos mixes all the imperfections, and it's stunning. What up, Andre? You're never late. Thank you, as always, for being here. Yes, RV is about the music. And let's see. Okay, I think I am finally. Oh, okay. Elder said, listen to the Atmos on Tidal. And it brings up crazy detail, but it's a bit gimmicky to my ears. Okay. Ooh, Blade Brown. That's right. Imagine For You tracks with all the stacked vocals and Atmos.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely controversy. And welcome. Thank you so much, D68A, for stopping by. Really appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but that Atmos, it has to be done right though, like because it can just. I get what he's saying. It could be gimmicky. I listened to a couple other albums. It needs to be done by somebody who really understands the music that they're working on. And I'm not sure the name of the person who did this.
Chris James.
Well, he must obviously love that album and knows, because again, like I said, to me, it just sounded like it perfectly worked with that. Like it brought stuff to it, didn't overpower certain things to me. And I've heard some other Atmos ones where it's like, why is this more prominent? It takes the soul of the song out, but it has to be done somebody who really knows those songs that they're working on.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into what did Prince do this week? Week 26. I'm going to try to do this super fast. All right. We're going week to week, not date to date. Follow the detailed schedule. You do not need the expanded edition, but this is what we're reading. Yes. All right. And these will be archived at Polish Solid on YouTube, as well as at MDean on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, and help spread the word to the Purple community so that if they're lonely or want to be in the number, that they can join us every Saturday at noon Eastern time. And our hashtag is WDPDTW for What Did Prince Do This Week. And I have to keep saying what did Prince do this week, because I had a lot of people come up to me and they couldn't tell me. They're like, that podcast you do on Saturday, right, or have different, like, what did Prince do this year or stuff like that. So I know it's a bit repetitive, but what did Prince do this week? The Estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. It is independent. Oh, welcome, Lee Christian. It's okay. Yes, glad that you have tuned in, and let's see what Andre is saying. It's been 40 years and we do not have a release of the 84th birthday show or the 83rd First Avenue show. The state should do the Neil Young route and open up the archives. All right, so we play Aguadilla, and we played this already this year, but I had to bring it back, one, because it's such an amazing song. But the main reason is because we've done this before. It's because of our reading this week, and Eric used parts of Desire on Aguadilla, so that's the reason why he had to give co-writing credit to Prince. So that's the reason why I played it again and again. Like I said, it's an amazing song. Okay, so week 26, this is episode number 77 of our What Did Prince Do This Week series. Very excited to be here again with Michael Dean. It's always a pleasure. A lot going on this week. In 1984, there were 4 new songs total, 3 studio visits total, and 1 album that was released, something called Purple Rain. So it was a massive, massive week. So let's break the week down. On Sunday, Prince recorded 100 miles per hour, which is fire, 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 fire. Love 100 miles per hour, particularly the one that's on. I'm going to make my solo myself because Bam! This is one of my favorite releases, post Prince originals. So don't sleep on originals if you haven't listened to it. And 100 Miles Per Hour is one of the songs on there. And so many, many, many more, like Sex Shooter, Jungle Love, Noon Rendezvous, Manic Monday, Makeup, You're My Love, Highly Rock, Baby or Trip, The Glamorous Life, Gigolos Get Lonely Too, Love, Thy Will Be Done, Dear Michelangelo, Wouldn't You Love to Love Me, Nothing Compares to You. A lot of family songs on here. And we're talking a lot about the family this week. So that was Sunday, which I think is an amazing day because every time I listen, I don't know about you, Michael Dean, every time I listen to 100 Miles Per Hour, I think it just like it scorches. And I never tire of that song. I could play it like in rotation 24 hours every minute and I'd be totally fine. I don't know about you.
Talking about 100 miles an hour?
Yes, 100 miles per hour.
Oh, yeah. I actually I like all versions, but I don't think they've released the dopest version in my opinion. There's a version that's just Prince and it's not as produced as the version that's on the originals or the Miles Right. And that version is the one that I really like because you can hear it. Boom, boom, boom. But either way, I mean the song's fire.
Song is fire. That's right.
It deserved to be a bigger song. You know, it's one of those songs that it should have been like a bigger thing. Like,
yeah, it should have. But you can say that about a lot of Prince songs.
Sure.
So yeah. All right, but definitely that one. So Monday, Purple Rain, which is June 25th, 1984. The Purple Rain soundtrack is released, and we're going to talk a lot about that. And yes, there's a lot of love for the Maserati LP in the community, and Stone Freak is representing the love. And yes, Stroke is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. So many. Yeah. Yes. Some more 100 miles per hour love. Yes. This is funny, Blake Brown. 100 miles per hour is the song before You're My Love. Okay. That's not a good combo. But yeah. All right. So on Wednesday, which is June 27th, we have not only Mutiny, which is bananas, but also High Fashion, as well as Ecstasy / Desire, which becomes Desire. And then on third, I never realized, or I knew this and I forgot that Prince recorded those 3 songs on the same day. It's like mind blowing to me. It really is. Like he was in the zone. Like you know.
Wait. I don't know if I didn't know this or just didn't dawn me. He recorded those songs just a day or so after the release of the Purple Rain.
Yes.
You took. Did you give?
Yes. It's like Michael Dean.
Yeah,
he like ain't got time for no
internet would existed back then. He could put them songs out and just leak them out. That would have been if he would have put out Mutiny and all that High Fashion. That would have been on some like what's the song my man got?
Yeah.
There would have been like diss tracks. People would have been confused. Like what's wrong with Morris and Prince? Is Prince talking about Morris on this? Like it would have been wild. I don't think we would have known what he was talking about, but obviously he was on some like, you know what? Yeah, I did took that I give. Got something for you. Damn, petty. That's dope.
But what I think really, that's my interpretation of what you just said, is that Prince was giving. Like he was just like, you know, like every day just giving tracks. It was like really, really crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
This is an interesting comment from Stone Freak. Prince didn't push Maserati like he should have. I always wonder if P didn't want another time situation. I don't know. It's just like, I think he wouldn't have released them. I think he was just like, I think they're at a point, Prince just got mad busy, you know, like with the movie, and like, it's one thing to be balancing multiple acts, but then now you're having to deal with like the movie making machine, and who knows like what kind of promotional commitments he had, or, you know, talking to people, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Zakia. I may have been busy. I really think he was just busy around this period. All right, so let's see. D68 says just uploaded the only time Prince played High Fashion Live, 1995, August 18th at Paisley with TC Jammers, including St. Paul. Thank you so much, D68, for that info. I'll add it to our playlist for the week. And let's see, Blake Brown saying, listening to I Would Die For You and Atmos, I drew some small comparisons to Desire. Maybe it's just me.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Okay.
You gotta listen to it.
All right.
It's a whole different song in my opinion.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
You can hear the liveness.
Yeah.
Really, there's guitar parts that you just could not hear before.
Huh. This is funny. Prince fans have strong neck muscles from years of doing double takes. That is correct. All right. And Chris Bournet is saying, I think Maserati was difficult to market because they had a rock-oriented sound and was hard to market to Black radio. I'm sure that had a little to do with it at this point in time during the 80s.
I always felt like by the time Maserati came out, it was kind of like the Prince, not Prince himself, but the Prince sound wave was kind of going down. That Minneapolis sound was kind of like, it's kind of getting played out a little bit. And I felt like they always kind of came a little too late. I mean, they obviously they did these songs well earlier, but I think by the time they came out, it was kind of same way I feel with The Family. I think those songs are excellent, but I always remember people it's like they were kind of getting tired. Oh, this is sounding like Prince or something, not knowing it was Prince. But it was like, oh, this sounds like it's some Prince. It's a Prince type of sound, which was, I think, getting played out at that time.
I know in retrospect, the Family sounds like Prince, but do you think in real time that the Family sounded like Prince?
I think what's the first single they had?
Screams of Passion.
I think that to me did. I think people was like, it sounds like Prince. But not knowing it was Prince, I think some people kind of played it off like, oh, this ain't the real deal or something. I even was a fan of it. I didn't necessarily know that how much of a hand he had in it, other than it being on Paisley Park. Now hearing the demos and stuff, I'm like, this is a Prince song, but I didn't know at the time. I just kind of felt like this kind of comes off as trying to sound like, Minneapolis style funk Prince or something. Not that it was bad. It was just like, I'd rather hear Prince do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that the Family for me was like a turn to a new sound, a new directional sound because of Claire Fisher and also like Eric Leeds. And I think that we might not have gotten Parade if we didn't get the Family. And I think Parade is definitely not what is the like a typical Minneapolis sound. Like it was a different sound for Prince. So that's the reason why I say that.
I think most people got that far though. I guess if they just heard the first single, so this sounds cool. I'm not gonna buy that album, but
right.
It's cool. Okay. Whereas us, if we listen to it, it sets the stage for all of that stuff. I agree.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Chris Barnett said, I call a local Black radio station and asked them to play Players Ball. And the DJ said, we don't play that cuz, thinking it was some hard rock song. So I'm assuming this was in real time, Chris, just to give some context. And then, yes, Ricky, we gave you and C. Lee like your thanks for holding it down last week. We so appreciate you both. And then C. Lee, you're never late. A little loud, but proud. Yes. Thank you so much for holding it down last week with Ricky and Arthur. Thank you so much. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, we talked about this. But we did talk about John L. So is it John L's birthday today? We talked about Hannah's birthday today. But thank you for letting us know it's also John L's birthday today, Mila. Really appreciate it. And Tanja says, agrees with me. It was a stepping stone to a new sound. And D68A is saying the Family Soul, 1986 Prince Parade, Claire Fisher era led to The Flesh and Madhouse. Ooh, I love this, Kyle Christian. The era of sophistication. Let's see. And hi, Rodney. It was so great to see you at Celebration. Let's see. Rodney saying the group had a hit record without a record deal. The family just had a production deal. So are you? I'm thinking you mean Maserati. The group had a hit record without a record deal. I'm not following. Let's see. Yes. So Chris Bournet confirmed it was in real time. And yeah, this is an interesting comment, Sakia. Yeah, not sure the family gained enough interest outside the first song.
Which we know their songs are brilliant. Obviously, years later, one of their songs becomes a super hit, right? But I think the perception is different. You know, there is no ties necessary to Prince when it comes out later. It's just a great song, or it doesn't confuse the market. I would argue the sophistication, which I love of Prince, from a hit standpoint, I don't think it necessarily worked for him either. I mean, Kiss is a masterwork, but it doesn't. Kiss sounds like that's what you kind of think Prince would sound like. It doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like, and the other songs that I think are far better don't become big hits for Prince. Mountains, Another Lover. You know, those songs are far superior, but I don't know if the general public took to them the way we did.
So Celie wants me to tell you, Rodney, that since Brother Rodney is on Facebook and not YouTube, tell him us YouTube folks say what's up to him. Okay. All right. Let's see. Good morning, Kareem. And yes, the family's entire album was brilliant. No skips. That's right, Vanessa. That's correct. And okay. So, and then on Thursday, we had Ecstasy turned into Desire officially. And then on Friday, Prince went to a Bruce Springsteen concert that was in the Twin Cities. And Rodney responded, much love, LOL, Celie. And hi, Drew. I hope you're well. And Drew is saying, I think the family's version of Nothing Compares to You was yes, yes, yes. This is my feeling too. I don't understand why St. Paul doesn't get any love for his vocal delivery of Nothing Compares to You. That's my version. And yes, I actually agree with you. Oh, I shouldn't be saying my personal, like, I don't want to get into taste arguments, but I actually agree with you dead on, Drew. I think it's better than Prince's version. That's my opinion. Nobody else's opinions, just mine. And I'll leave it at that. All right. So yes, Kim, marketing was a problem with the family and Maserati. Yes, Elbara, final packaging for the family is absolutely stunning. And yes, he was too tied up in the Uncherry Moon filming to promote the family album. This is correct, Annie Reward. Thank you so much. And all right, we got some family Nothing Compares to You love in the house. I really appreciate seeing this, as well as Vanessa. But of course, we have Blade Brown with Prince and Rosie's the best, in my opinion. And, and Rodney's, to officially respond to you, Celie, Rodney says they're on both platforms, okay? So they're multitasking, all right? And then... And the family was amazing at Celebration a few years ago. That is correct, Audra. They're always put on a great show. Any incarnation of St. Paul and Eric Leeds, whether it's LP Music, whether it's the family, whether it's F Deluxe. Yes, okay, Cal Christian, St. Paul is the only version that counts. And Lisa's saying love the family album. And Theo is saying Rosie Gaines is the one when it comes to Nothing Compares to You. So as always, we always have different opinions, and it's all about what you love. I'm just happy that people actually have a version that they love, because I think it's really important to figure out which ones resonate with you, because we only have so much time on this earth, and you need to listen to the version that speaks to you as much as possible. All right, so we're going to get to our reading, and our timekeeper is here, and I'm surprised you haven't checked our time yet. So we're going to start off with 100 miles per hour, which is page 340. So let's turn to that page. And And let's see, Michael Dean, if it's okay, do you mind reading this? Let's
got me some reading glasses, but I don't know where they at right now. So let me
you gotta get the magnifying glass like C. Lee has.
That's what they basically are. All right.
All right. So let's skip the quote and let's start with the second paragraph where it says the track itself.
Okay. The track itself began as a driving but relatively sparse keyboard, guitar, and bass song that was eventually filled in with additional guitar and keyboards. The tune was fairly repetitive and sounds like it was based around a keyboard riff, which was common for Prince. We play a lot together, Wendy Melville told Musician Magazine in 1984. When we jam, we'll get caught in a groove, and knowing each other's style so well, we can create a song. That's how a lot of stuff gets created and arranged.
Let's stop right there just for a hot second. So I think it was Mike Gonzalez posted on Twitter that all of the Musician Magazine archives have been released. Like they're all scanned. And I went ahead and downloaded these three in particular because I was like, this is incredible. So if you go to the slideshow and it's on our book club website, and let me put it up. That's the URL there, bookclub.polysod.com. You go all the way down to the bottom, you can get to the slideshow. And these images were actually from an R&R auction where they sold Prince's copies of Musician. So these were like, he had these articles in particular. So I don't know what else they sell a lot of his personal copies, but I thought it was interesting that he had all three of these Musician magazines, one from October 1984, which is what that quote from Wendy Michael just read came from. And then one of my personal favorite covers of all time, if not my favorite magazine cover of Prince. Well, actually, I take that back. It would be the second one because the Vanity Prince on Rolling Stone cover is probably my number one. But this September 1983 cover with the Lynn Goldsmith image has always been one of my favorite covers because one is during the controversy era, that image. And that's like, one of my favorite eras. And then there's also the November 1988 issue, which was all about. So if you want to read these in their entirety, you can actually download all of these. And again, I don't know how long these things last. So I would definitely make sure that you grab your copies while you can. Yes, and Ricky's saying the Love Sexy era cover is a great story. I think all three of these, I always love Musician Magazine for their coverage. So I would definitely check it out. And Karan is saying that Brown Mark and Maserati performed 100 miles per hour at Celebration 2022, and it was great. And let's see what Celia is saying. Another great thing about Prince is that we have so many versions of his songs that speak to so many of us in so many different ways. If you don't like one version, just wait for the other one. Amazing point. Love that. And welcome, Olga. It's always a party. And I love your image of Prince, one of my favorites. All right. So I wanted to interrupt you just because I knew I wanted to talk to our community about these amazing the archives, and I just wanted to make sure I did it then. So let's go back to the reading, and you were about to start reading right after we signed.
Right after we signed, 100 miles an hour was the first demo we received from him, remembers Tony Christian. I love the song. I love that song so much, Prince said. I wrote this song especially for Maserati. 100 miles per hour is perfect. So I was like, okay. Now, whether he wrote it beforehand or if he just took it out of the vault thinking it would be perfect for us, who knows? Official documents indicate that the song was intended for Maserati, but during this period, Prince was considering many of his songs for both Maserati and the family. In fact, he may have had the time on his mind when working on the track, as right after he says, cool, 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 4 minutes and 9 seconds in the extended version, there is a bass synth line straight from the Times Cool. Jerry Hubbard had been in the time, but after he split, he was asked to stay on as the bass player for the family. And Prince played a few songs for him from the vault. Are we reading the quote? Yeah. All right. One of the songs he played for me blew my mind. I'll never forget. My face was so contorted. I was like, oh my God. He played 100 miles an hour. And he said, do you think this would be good for the family? And I said, it would be good for the family. I would love to have it. Laughs. I was like, dude, this is the most funky thing I ever heard. He was like, yeah, it's funky, ain't it? He played me 100 miles per hour and then Wonderful Ass, Lord. And another track. I thought he was going to put together the album from Tapes from the Vault. And then not too long after that, someone started telling me he's working on a whole new album. And I went, really? He had brought a couple of tracks into it, and it was just misguided, agrees Susan Melville. Prince didn't know at the time, once he put me and Eric Leeds and Paul together, what it was really going to turn into. Status 100 miles per hour, 7 minutes and 23 seconds was given to Maserati for their 1986 debut album. It was mainly just vocal work and a good mix on it, recalls Brown Mark after working on the song with Maserati. And we really didn't do anything on that song. An edited version, 3 minutes and 9 seconds, was also created and released as a single.
Awesome. Thank you so much, as always. All right. So now I'm gonna give you guys whiplash. Sorry about this. And let's see. Get a little preview. All right. So
back in time and
so one thing about the originals is that if you have the originals, it comes with an amazing booklet with essays from like Nelson George, Joe Jones, Susanna Melvoin. But one of the things I like about like the releases that they've been doing is the inclusion of like the artifacts. And I always like seeing like the grid, and they also have photos of the way that the mixing board was set up. And what's crazy is in the top right hand corner, you can see something called a floppy disk. And floppy disks are sort of like SD cards, except way bigger and very, very thin. For those of you who don't know about the floppy disks.
What were they saving on the floppy disk? Do you know?
I would assume it would be like, you know, the song, almost like I would assume, but I could be wrong. Let me see. I need my glasses. I need to get some new glasses, Michael Dean.
Oh, I wonder if it was like, I wonder, did they save are they with it? And somebody can ask, will they save the track settings? I can't, like, I'm very curious. I don't
yeah, it says 100 miles per hour. That's what's on the title. And then it just says formatted April 10th, 1985. So this must be the Maserati version, this floppy disk. Or I could be wrong.
Board settings or something. It was an automated board, and they can save the mix. I'm just
that actually sounds that sounds about right. Is someone in here a musician back in 1980?
Where my studio heads at? Yeah,
where the studio heads at to school us, because we need some schooling right now. All right. So I don't know, is that an exactly real line to DJ for the floppy disk? Can you confirm? And let's see, Zakia is saying, Restonware, that Prince asked Jesse if he wanted to be in the family, but he declined. That is correct. And yes, Karan, another hidden Maserati gem is Strawberry Love. Actually, Joe Jones sings background on that. And I'm blanking, but someone did a cover of Strawberry Love, Mind Design, on a label out on the West Coast. It's actually a really great cover of Strawberry Love. I was like, who would cover a Strawberry Love? Mind Design would. So seek that out if you like that song. Because, all right, and Ricky's saying, yeah, probably save the sounds. And then SMS 130 was saying they were saved settings. So it's probably the settings, I would think. I don't know if, I don't know though. They had some Macintosh computers in the studio back then. Let's see. So I love that you guys are like fire hosing me today. Yep, that's right. Mind Design on Stone's Throw. That's correct. Thank you. I forgot about the name Stone's Throw. I can't believe it. I'm getting old. A really great record label. They release like a lot of the Mad Lib releases, some Dilla stuff. They're a really good label. And okay, so yes, Olga, floppy disks bring back memories. I don't know if you guys remember SideQuest drives, but I don't know. Okay, we're not gonna go down that. But this is the part that I really love seeing. Is like the delineation of all the instruments, and you can see guitar 1, guitar 2. You see lead vocals. You can see drums and the clap security, like basically which channel was on the mixing board. It's really cool. Oh yes, we cannot, Vanessa, forget about Dame Funk, who is also on Stone's Throw. And Tanja is saying synth and drum tracking were saved on floppy disk. Okay. And yes, Dame Funk is a Prince disciple for sure. And let's see. Yes, floppy disk memory storage was very small in comparison to now. Yes, and I forgot about Mayor Hawthorne is also on Stone's Throw. That is correct. I love my music heads. It's so great to know you. All right, so there's a lot of pages when it comes to the Purple Rain album. We're not going to read all of them, so you're going to have to do that on your own. Pages 342 to 344. The only thing I will read is from page 344. It's a quote from Prince, and we know it's a quote from Prince because it's bolded. Prince says, "Apollonia and I slept under a hotel table waiting for the reviews of the album," he claimed. "We were so excited we couldn't sleep. When we saw them, they were all good." I haven't had time to look up when this quote was from.
All right, Prince.
What's that?
I said, all right, Prince. I was reading between the lines.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to know though. Let's see. June 1984. Sorry about this, guys. I'm one of those people. I just gotta know. So this was number 31. If my eyesight is good. 31 says Prince and the Revelation from Paper Magazine. This is from April 21, 2016. So this was a later, I wonder if this was an interview with him or they pulled it from something. So I have to do more deep dive, and I don't have time for that. But maybe someone in the crowd who have their book can actually go to the footnotes and click on that link and figure out if this is a quote from Prince from 2016 or is this a quote from a different time. I would love to know that. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next. We have stuff we want to talk about. First of all, the cover is iconic, the flowers in particular. And this is a note to Laura LaPuma that Prince wrote. "Dig if you will, dialogue should go in this space right over the flowers in purple type. Note type should be made bigger to fill up space. Note, please use larger type on song Purple Rain to make up for space loss. Dig if you will, dialogue. If you have to put film block on back cover, put it below the dig if you will dialogue. If film block can go on lyric sheet, do so please. Thanks, P." And we have to give an amazing thanks to the one and only Michael Dean for doing an amazing interview with Laura LaPuma. And you can find that on Michael's channel, but I also put it in the playlist for this week if you want to go back and watch that. Might be interesting to go back to rewatch it in light of our reading this week and the Atmos mix and the 4K and all of that, because it's a really iconic cover and the lettering is, iconic, and everything about it is, like the motorcycle, Apollonia in the door, the smoke, like everything about this. And that's one of the things I really loved about the immersive experience that was in Chicago, was the ability to recreate the scene, and you can get on the motorcycle. I wanted to be Apollonia, but a few people were able to be Apollonia, but when I asked, they were like, no, you can't go up there. So I had the wrong person. That was like the tour guide or whatever. But yes, an amazing interview that Michael did with Laura. And that was last year, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, I think so. Wow.
Yeah, time is moving on. I can't believe we're already in almost July, pretty much. Yes, Michael's interview with Laura LaPuma is a must-see. Yes, so I'm glad to hear that I wasn't the only person who wanted to be Apollonia. We got denied our requests. Welcome, Reggie. It's so great to have you here. All right. So in addition to the cover, so there was this unused prototype of the CD. And I don't know if you could tell, but the CD was going to be in this like cardboard box that's slid in the middle there. And this is the inside of it. And this is the outside of it. And eventually they would do this for Around the World in a Day, but it was for the German release, not the American release.
CDs existed back then.
Yeah, that would have been really crazy. But they did do it for Around the World in a Day, but it was only released in Germany. My husband got one from Tower Records back in the day for Around the World in a Day. So they had prototyped this for Purple Rain, which is interesting.
Just a funny question for you. What was your first CD? You remember what year you got a CD the first time?
That's a great question. I can't tell you my CD, but I can tell you my cassette. My cassette was 1999, my first cassette. And I can also tell you my first album, which was Minnie Riperton's Minnie, that my mom bought me. But the first album, and then I had some albums that one of my uncles bought me. My uncle bought me the Go-Go's, Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll. And there was a third one he bought me all on the same day. But the very first album that I purchased was also vinyl, was also 1999, because I had to buy 2 different 1999 cassettes because I broke the first one. I bought another cassette. I broke that one. And then I give up. I'm going to buy vinyl from now on because like the cassettes aren't working for me because I play them to death. But I can't tell you what my first CD was, which is kind of crazy to think about. And the thing is, like, I bought CDs before I had a CD player. So I was just stacking up CDs and I didn't even have a CD player. So I know that. So
I remember seeing the CD box for Around the World in a Day. I feel like that's the first time I ever noticed a CD, but I didn't know what it was. I obviously didn't have a player. I just remember that long box. I remember seeing that, like, whoa, what is that? Like, but I don't think I got a CD until like it might have been Love Sexy, possibly. The first time I ever bought a CD.
Oh wow, that's a good one to buy it for.
Yeah. Or around that time, and I don't know if that was for, but it was definitely because I remember seeing them all the time, but I didn't have a CD player, so I just ignored it. Like, I'm a cassette guy. I would just always get cassettes.
Yeah.
That boggles my mind to see a Purple Rain. I didn't even know CDs existed back then. That's wow.
Yeah,
I guess people would have saw that, like they must see like when somebody mentions 4K or Atmos, something like that. Why do I need to get that? This is another format,
Yeah, don't even start talking about laser discs. Yeah. Yep. And let's see. I didn't like Tony Basil. That's just me personally. Yes, I hated Oh Mickey, just FYI. And
Oh Mickey.
Yes, I hated the song. They played it to death. They played it to death. I was like, okay, I won't get into it. Those are taste arguments.
Yeah.
All right. Karan says their first Prince CD was Love Sexy Like Yours and Prince Batman soundtrack. Can't go wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Chad is saying I did the same thing, picked up Batman 89 in the black round can. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Can before I had a CD player. Actually, Olga, I never found the albums that I needed to identify from the presentation. I thought by going to PopCon, where I was surrounded by music heads, that I would have ID'd those albums, but nope, I haven't yet. And we got Kim, Love Sexy. Love Sexy. Also the first. Everybody, look at how many people are buying Love Sexy as their first CD. And people say that Love Sexy does. Okay, I'm not even going to go into. I'm not going to go into that. Yes, thank you, Timekeeper. Reggie B is saying, I think the first CD I saw Prince was Around the Rolling Day. I had the vinyl, but my older cousin had it. And Tanja, Thriller was Tanja's first. And Ricky is saying Love Sexy was the last P album bought. The Batman soundtrack album was the first CD. Okay, my first Prince CD was a Batman soundtrack. You're never late, Brandy. Thank you for being here. Yes, it's a bummer. Let's see. Purple Rain was the first cassette my dad bought me before he joined the Army in '84.
No.
Michael Jackson's Bat was my first, I'm assuming, first CD. And Theo is saying, go ahead.
Yeah, well, to go back to Bad, something like that. I wonder if it's major release sellers like that sort of help usher in these formats in a more mainstream way. Because I do remember buying Bad as well, and I normally would not buy CDs, but I can imagine an album that sells as heavy as something like that must have an impact on CD player sales. So
I'm
more
sure.
people kind of be like, well, let me go and start getting some of these discs. And I know hip hop was really starting to make its way, coming from a cassette, seemed like world, to getting CDs of rap albums. I remember that at that time too.
Yeah. So Theo saying their first Prince album was a metallic Purple Rain vinyl for Christmas in 2018. Amazing. And then we have, a woman after my own heart. My first Prince CD from Vanessa was the Symbol album. And I didn't get a CD player until 91. I love the Symbol album. And yes, I can drop it all day long, Chad. It's one of my favorite sounds on earth. Let's see. And then Brandy said first CD was almost a Black album, but I put it back. B-sides first CD to add to the cassette collection. Okay, another Batman in the Tin was my first CD long before I had a CD player. And let's see. I bought Love Sexy on cassette because I was in college, heard it, and went back to Sound of Times because it was my favorite Prince album still to this day. The Janet album was my first CD. Yes, this is correct. CDs used to have extra songs that albums and tapes didn't have because of the extra capacity. And Kareem is saying, oh, go ahead, Michael. I felt like you wanted to say something.
When do you think was the first Prince album that, how do I just say? It seems like Prince's albums were constructed with CDs not being a thought, because it was always a side one and side two guy. Where you have to flip it over, whether it's the album or the cassette. But with the CD, obviously you don't have that. Maybe Love Sexy is the first Prince album where he has CD in his head. I want you can't jump around. It still has a first side and a second side because of the album and the cassette, but the CD is just the one side, so you have to listen. It seems like that's the first album where he was like, okay, I see what this thing is. I see what the CD thing is, but I don't want that to impede my art and the way I want to present it.
I think that's the reason why, when they originally released it on CD, you couldn't skip like the whole album, like one track. I mean, now you can get it where it's skippable.
Right.
But I just want to be clear again for like people who might not have experienced that in real time or don't even use any physical forms of media because we live in a mixtape society, that is really important to point out that Love Sexy was originally a one-track song, meaning like all the songs on the album was one track on the CD. You could not skip it. So I love that about it. So you definitely wanted us to listen to that as an album. You know, as we know, Prince said albums matter because they do. And I think that is like exhibition, you know, like number A in the dictionary. And I just want to say Kareem said that their first CD was Tupac's Me Against the World, but my first Prince CD was the Prince album from 1979. That's very cool. And then, hi, Duane. I hope you're well. Let's see. Duane is saying, my first Prince CD was Around Rolling the Day. I love the long box on that, and it stood out. Yes, because of the artwork. It was amazing by Doug Hinders. And then we got, I bought Bad on CD for the house back in New Orleans and the tape when I attended college out of town at Grambling. Yeah, it's interesting how you would buy the same album on multiple formats. Because of the changing, you know, sound systems. And another first CD was Batman. I'm loving all this Batman and Love Sexy love we're getting for first CDs. And I bought a Laserdisc player because Live was released on it. That's what I'm talking about, Tommy from Amsterdam. And that happens a lot. Like you buy you buy a particular hardware because you want to hear, you know, like a new format. And let's see. Ooh, I love the Zuzu's pedals. My first album was Controversy. And in high school, was in heavy rotation for Quran. And let's see, I'm skipping through some of them because there's so many. You guys are like on fire today. My first CD was Sign of the Times, Zuzu's pedals.
And remember the early CDs, they had to compromise Prince's work to be on them, right?
Like, yes, like with 1999, they didn't have DMSR on there, which was like blasphemous.
Was there another one that, or maybe is that the only one? I don't know why I'm thinking.
I think that's the only one, but again, somebody in the chat will let us know. This is a good first CD, Beyonce's B-Day album, and Mila's first Prince CD was also the self-titled album. Interesting. And then let's see. Yeah. Celia saying, yes, a lot of people hated that it was a one-track CD, but I loved it that way. And then Jordance's Sign of the Times was the first CD. And let's see. Play Brown, those annoying plastic cases around the CDs that you had to cut through. I forgot about those. Yeah.
I wonder if sonically, just thinking, the sound of Love Sexy was somehow possibly influenced by what people thought sonically CDs sounded at that time. It was such a very different sound of music. I always felt like the Love Sexy album had a very different sonic sound than everything he did before then. Yeah. I never thought about, I wonder if CD clarity played into that somewhat, the way it was mixed by.
No, I think you're onto something, Michael Dean. I love this comment from Big Black saying, I like the new concert best, Love Sexy second. I don't hate on that. Even though for me, I would probably flip them. Love Sexy first, new concert. I love the new concert. The new concert doesn't get a lot of love from a lot of people, but I love like how the future is underneath all the tracks. And I know some people hate that the future is underneath all the beginning tracks. I mean, Prince and, you know, TDK are like dancing their butts off. I mean, I don't know. I love the new tour. It's one of my favorites.
Tokyo.
Yeah. Yes, Tokyo. And then Eldebar, anyone have a mini disc player? Love making my own mixes and CD quality. I never went the mini disc route. Did you go the mini disc route?
I had one for work. I didn't have it personally, but we definitely made many disc copies for people.
All right. They removed Free from 1999 CD. I don't remember that. I know that they removed the DMSR at one point. And I love this. Thank you. I love reading this because it helps me to remember that sometimes people haven't bought any of these formats. So Barbara Y, I have never bought a CD myself. I have 2 sisters that are 9 and 11 years old, and I would listen to their CDs sometimes, though. And let's see. Yes. And then
Question for everybody too. When you started going to CDs, did you stop buying vinyl or cassettes?
that's a good question. I love some new concert love here. Hello, Baron. My first CDs were the Beatles. I don't know what my first CDs is. I have a few minis. Yeah, they didn't remove free DMSR. Yes. Blake Brown saying the new tour felt like a dance party more so than some of the other shows. I think another thing that I liked about the new tour, actually, from reading your comment, and I've never articulated this out loud or even to myself, is that I like it because the energy was high. Like it wasn't like a roller coaster sometimes, like you start off high, then you go down low. Like it was pretty high for a long time in the show itself. And I just love high energy tours. Okay, Celie. Yes, for the new tour, I love the future and then skips the kiss because I don't like the house mix of the other songs, but I don't really see it as a house mix. I just see it as future, the future beat, which I could play all day, every day. I love that just the drum track on the future, I think is pretty brilliant. This is interesting. Kim said I had a mini disc recorder player, but never bought an album on mini disc. And Vanessa, to answer your question, Michael Dean says, yes, I stopped buying vinyl. And let's see, D688. Yep, I have a mini disc, still do with mini disc, some still wrapped in wrappers. And Chris Burnett is saying, I only bought vinyl for the cover art. I usually bought cassettes because they were portable. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I started buying CDs was for the portability. Like my Sony disc player, like I took it everywhere. Before the iPod, it was like the Sony mini disc. I mean, not mini disc, CD player. But I also never stopped buying vinyl like Becky. I just bought both albums and CDs. And so CDs were for the car. Now I have tons of CDs and no player. And Andrew is saying, I still buy vinyl as a first choice. I don't stream except for YouTube. Then Karan is saying, still bought vinyl all the way to the Village, New York City to pick up the maxi single of Thieves and the Temple. Never stopped buying vinyl by choice. Only stopped when that format wasn't available anymore for releases. That's TP. Christina saying, yes, I stopped buying vinyl albums after CDs came out. Let's see.
That's interesting.
And I'm seeing what Kyle says. Has anybody made the correlation between the For You albums track Just As Long As We're Together and Alphabet Street? No. You have to tell us what that correlation is.
Interesting.
I love this. And Anna B's first CD was Diamonds and Pearls, which I borrowed indefinitely from a friend. And JD is saying I bought both formats, especially the 12-inch singles. I also liked liner notes, which were sparse with CDs. Yeah, liner notes are what I miss most from digital-only releases. And let's see. Okay, it was a 10-year span for you to love sexy. Yes. Love vinyl. We'll keep buying it. I'm with you. I right now I buy both vinyl and CDs. Okay. All right. So let's move on because we still got a lot to cover. And our time, and yeah, we got a lot to cover. So this is just like what the long box would have looked like if they would have went with this unused prototype. This is an ad for the Purple Rain album. And this is a display in Tower Records, which was my favorite record store at the time. And I loved how elaborate their displays would have been. And this is like a promo counter display, as well as another one for When Doves Cry, just to get a sense of way things were back when we had physical forms of media and what it was like to actually go to a record store to actually buy an album or cassette. Okay, So now we're going to go to our next reading, which is on page 344. And I will do this because we're not going to be able to read all of this for the sake of time. And this is for Wednesday. Hold on one second. It's going to be Wednesday, June 27, 1984. Mutiny, basic tracking, high fashion, basic tracking, ecstasy, working title for Desire, basic tracking, Flying Cloud Drive, Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, producer Prince, artist The Family, engineer Susan Rogers. So we are going to skip to page 346. And we're going to start at the top. And then there are songs that can be easily understood when looked at in context. Mutiny is an example of this, and he poured his frustration into the track. Borrowing a repeated groove from Prince's 1981 song Controversy, which he had already revisited in the song 1999, Mutiny was a pointed jab at Morris Day's departure from Prince's circle of influence. Many of the lyrics included references to the problems with Day over the last few months, including Maybe You Should Have Called. And he claimed ownership of the new band with the chant, Mutiny, I said I'm taking over. After explaining that no one gets away with doing him wrong, Prince was throwing insults at Day and Johnson by proxy, using the voice of Paul Peterson, a replacement member of the time and now the face of the family. In essence, what Prince was having Peterson say was that Day's time was over because the new man had taken control of that ship. To sharpen the point, Prince, using his Morris Day Jamie Starr voice, calls out Johnson's name at 1 minute and 58 seconds on the original recording, and then taunts Day by referencing his onstage insult from the Times October 4th, 1983 show. During that concert, Day asked Prince, "You took, but did you give?" And in response, Prince asked Morris, "Did you give?" During the session, Prince used the phrase twice more on high fashion, donation, do you take or do you give? And at the end with a throwaway, do you take? It was obvious that Prince was hurt by what he felt was Day's betrayal, and as usual, music was his weapon of choice to strike back. And then we're going to skip the next paragraph and say high fashion, or high fashion as it is sometimes written in the notes without the GH, was not only the name of the song, it was also the concept for the band and for their style, and it would be strongly considered as a name for the album. If the time was wearing 1950 style clothing, the family was going to sport 1920 style in every way, classy, clean, and funky, but all with high fashion sense. It wasn't a coincidence that both Mutiny and high fashion used the phrase all the way Vogue. The time was more street urban, explained Jelly Bean Johnson. I think he wanted this to be more of a classy, jazzy type of group. He wanted it to be different than the time. He wanted to feature a great sax player and do jazz instrumentals and feature pop songs with Paul, who had the perfect look at the time. He really did. Okay. So I'm going to skip on page 347 to, it says, much like many of the tracks being recorded by Prince at that time, high fashion was sparse, driving funk track that was basically drums, guitar, bass, and keyboards played as if the band was jamming. But as often the case with Prince, it didn't require much input from anyone else. Susan Rogers explained, it was Prince who did all the tracks by himself. He had a new keyboard at the time, the Yamaha DX7, and you can tell Prince never bought into it to get into programming. He always just used a preset, which always fascinates me, how Prince was just using presets a lot of times, but he would make them sound so not preset. The whole record is built around the DX7. We did do them very quickly at the warehouse, and Prince put on the guide vocals on each one. Prince's mind was racing, and he was already planning his next movie, which was a variation on Purple Rain, with the family replacing the time. Rogers remembers hearing it discussed during the sessions. Paul was going to be the pretty white kid from the other side of the tracks who was going to be Prince's rival in a future movie. He was going to be the kid who had everything that Prince wanted. Unfortunately, Paul wasn't nearly as sexy as Prince, and that was Susan Rogers. That would have been an interesting movie idea. So I had forgotten about that. Maserati's Tony Christian recalls being told a slight variation of the story for the potential movie plans. It was going to be a knockoff of West Side Story, where the family were like the Jets. and Maserati were like the sharks. And he told me at the end of the movie, I'm going to die. Laughs. I said, okay, at least you waited to the end of the movie. That was Tony Christian. In a demo for High Fashion, Prince sang a duet with Peterson, which indicates that for at least part of the movie, the two of them were likely friends. All right, I'm going to go to the next page because, again, this is a very long chapter. And then I'm going to go to the end of the paragraph. End of the page. By the end of the session, Prince had laid groundwork. I need to read this first paragraph. This was an incredibly productive day because Prince was able to create a third song, Desire. At the time, it was called Ecstasy. Was a bit different from High Fashion and Mutiny in that it wasn't a groove vamp, but almost a ballad-type track. Built over a simple percussive beat and synth bass grooves, Prince's original version had a snare drum on the 2 and 4 that was eventually removed, giving the release version a more laid-back vibe. Its lyrics are somewhat poetic in the sense they ponder the concept of desire rather than talking of desire for another person. And then I'm going to go down to the last paragraph. By the end of the session, Prince had laid the groundwork for the family album. Within the next few days, new inspiration would arise and his vision would change once again, radically modifying the band's sound in a direction few around him had considered. Status. Alterations were made to High Fashion, 5 minutes and 8 seconds, Mutiny, 3 minutes and 47 seconds, and Desire, 5 minutes and 11 seconds, including Paul Peterson and Susanna Melvoin replacing Prince's vocals and Eric Leeds contributing on sax. Composer Claire Fisher also added strings to High Fashion and Desire before they released on the family album. This was Fisher's first arrangement. I want to highlight this was Fisher's first arrangement. What an amazing partnership for a Prince composition and the start of a partnership that would last until Fisher's passing in 2012, which is really incredible. The album version of High Fashion, 5 minutes, 7 seconds, was edited to 3 minutes and 5 seconds for release as a single, and it peaked at number 34 on the Billboard Black Singles chart. It did not chart on the Hot 100 or other U.S. charts. A 12-inch version, 7 minutes and 7 seconds, was created but remains unreleased. Elements from the album version were included in Sheila E.'s 19... But didn't, for the High Fashion, didn't St. Paul play that on one of his podcasts or something, the entire version? Can someone in the chat let me know? I kind of remember that. Elements from the album version were included in Sheila E.'s 1987 song, Honey Man, Honey Man. I think that's one of Sheila E.'s favorites from Sheila E.'s album, specifically the chant Money Man, which can be found at 4 minutes and 16 minutes on the album version, seconds on the album version of High Fashion and around the 5-minute mark on the unreleased 12-inch. In 1993, Components of Desire, we already talked about that. At some time during 2013, 2014, Mutiny would be re-recorded by Prince when it was being considered for an appearance on Arsenio Hall's talk show, and it contained horns arranged by Philip Lassiter. The re-recorded version remains unreleased. Mutiny, 3 minutes and 53 seconds, and Desire, 4 minutes and 55 seconds, were released on the family album, but were not issued as singles. Okay, this is the killer. I wanted to read this all so we could read this little bit here. It is possible that Slow Love, one of my favorite songs of all time, was also recorded during this period, but probably not during the session. This song was later released on Sign of the Times. Isn't it insane to think that, and it makes sense actually from the photo where with, I'm blanking on her name, the Slow Love lady. Picture is around this time, so that makes a lot of sense. All right. Okay. So we have 2 more readings. Can you do the next reading for Thursday, June 28th, 1984 for Desire? But let's just go to the top of page 350 and just read those 2 sentences. Michael Dean, where it says
the first track?
No, on 350, it says Prince wrote the lyrics.
Oh, okay, sorry. Prince wrote the lyrics and recorded the vocals for the recently tracked instrumental Ecstasy, changing the title to Desire. Status. This date for this vocal session is uncertain, but it is more than likely took place between June 28th and July 1st.
Yeah. All right. So we have some supplements. Here are the handwritten lyrics to Mutiny by Prince. Again, you can find them in the slide deck, which you can get at the bottom of the website, which is bookclub.polysolid.com, if you want to read them. But there's not many changes with Mutiny. However, the one you should read, though, is High Fashion. He made like a lot of tweaks in this one. Yes. Thank you, Arthur. Slow Love Lady. Yes. Carol Davis. I don't keep Carol Davis's name in my mental Rolodex because you know how I feel about Slow Love. Okay. All right. Yes, Blade Brown. I was being funny. I'm gonna say it. I've said it a gazillion times. This shouldn't be like news to anybody. I hate slow love. I always have. Skip. Yes, hate it.
The live version?
Maybe? Yes, I hate all versions.
Okay.
I be skipping. Yeah, like we be skipping. The reason why I don't like it, I'll say it, and I know I'm gonna get like whatever daggers and all that. It's just like I went to Prince when I wanted to hear something that no one would do but Prince, like something unique and interesting. And I felt like Slow Love was just like a normal track. I don't know who could do it, but yeah. But that's just me. And I don't want to get into it because I know some people are going to get mad and all that. But it's not for me. All right. So if you look at the high fashion, Slow Love, I'm combining Slow Love and high fashion all together as one. Let me see if I can find 1 second. And where's the high fashion? Okay. All right. So I had to get it on my screen really big because it's really small. So a few things. I want to talk a little bit about some of the changes. So when Prince writes, she dines at La Dome up on the strip, cheap liquor never touches her lips. Originally, it was cheap alcohol never touches her lips, but obviously he changed that because it just didn't flow. And then before her brandies imported every week, he had special brand from Europe is flown every week. And I can't read what he scratched out. Something about perfume head down, but then he changed that to no problem. And if it's late, she changes brands. I don't know, but he scratched that out. And then he scratched out, I offered dinner at my home, but it used to be I offered her dinner at my home. And then the interesting one to me was he originally had funny how the laughing stopped when I flashed all the cash I had, but he had $1,900, all 20s, but he scratched out all 20s. And then if I'm reading this correctly, it says too much grass to hold, and he changed that to too much cash to hold. And then he had one of my boys had to carry half. Now you know that's bold, but then he originally wrote honey, you know that's bold. And I think sometimes he went back to honey, but he scratched out honey and put in now. And then for the wait a minute, he originally had I'm not through, but he scratched through that. And then the other one that I thought was really interesting at the very, very bottom, he wrote, I said, honey, I'm riding in the back of a custom made Jaguar. Then he scratched that out. Then he put Rolls Royce limo. And then he just had plaid, but then, he changed the lyrics to custom painted plaid. So this one is a really interesting one to look at. And also, if you look at the top right-hand corner, it says by St. Paul. But obviously, these are Prince's hand.
Handwriting. Listening to this about this song and these other family songs, and thinking of this song in particular, this song just screams Morris Day to me. Like, I love St. Paul. That's my man, actually. But it's almost as now looking at it, I could see how it almost was like somebody cosplaying. Like I don't believe it. You know, like you don't. You know, it's like if, I don't believe him balling like that. But I can see what Prince was doing with that. But I could see this would have been a Morris Day all day. Like you would have believed. You know, I got the Italian Saskatchewan. It's the same. You know, it's the same type of braggadocious. You know, type of thing. Because back then I was like, who was this St. Paul? How has he got all this money? I don't believe it, but it was dope. But I can just see how it would have been interesting if we would have seen the the fellas, the time, or Morris and them doing this, because I can see it shows to me like as dope as the music is, and it is immaculately dope, and Prince took it to the next level with the family. There is something to be said though of the energy, the performance, the vibe, if you will, of Morris and the fellas that just could never have been captured with that was missing. You know what I'm saying? That was such a big part of it, even the music. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if Prince necessarily saw that back then. Probably just thought I can get anybody in here to do these songs, but I can see the difference. Like, as dope as it is, I can see why it didn't work with the general public, and not taking away from the music at all. It's fabulous. The idea of it's fabulous, but there is a reason why Morris and them were the shit at that time. They brought so much to it as well. And a halftime, it just doesn't. It's not the same vibe.
Yes,
I wouldn't even be mad if Prince would have did this, but I don't know if I would have believed Prince being that type of person at that time either. But obviously, you did write it all. So.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why. I think that's one of the reasons why people have such a hard time. In real time with Under the Cherry Moon, because they didn't see Prince as that guy.
Different image for him.
Yeah, it's the same with High Fashion. Like if he would have sung that, it's really like Christopher Tracy singing High Fashion. And let's see what Seeley's talking about. I often wonder how many of his lyric edits are about theme, meaning, and how many are about the rhythm or groove of the song. As a poet who doesn't work with music, I never had that issue. I think that's a really good point. I'm sure it's because sometimes the lyrics might not have, just it didn't have that flow with whatever was the music sound bed underneath whatever they were saying. All right, so we have our final reading, which we're not going to read because we're running out of time, and we want to make sure we can get Theo on and talk about it because our timekeeper, we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes in. So on Friday, June 29th, 1984, Prince attends a Bruce Springsteen tour in the Twin Cities. And what I did find, because I just wanted to see if there was a mention of Prince at the show, and actually John Breen.
Bruce was in it. Boss.
Yes.
In the USA. Man. I love it.
Yes. So so John Breen wrote this review of the show, and it's actually quite long in the Star Tribune, but he didn't mention that Prince was there. So maybe he didn't see them, but this is at the in the slideshow if you want to read it. Okay. So I want to go through this really quickly because we have our guests and we want to get started and talking about celebration. So week 26 of 1984. So far in 1984, Prince has recorded 36 new songs and has had 71 studio visits total. And so this week again, 100 miles per hour, Mutiny, High Fashion, Desire, aka Ecstasy, were recorded. All right. So really quick music break. Again, if Corey Henry is near you, please go see them. And they will be next in Saratoga, New York on tomorrow, as well as on July 3rd in Italy. So if you're over in Italy, please go support Corey. All right, Purple World. Before we get into talking to our guest, Theo, I just want to let everybody know that Andre Simone just released a new track called Funk is Alive on Bandcamp. And again, if you go to the slide deck, or you can just Google or type in andresimone.bandcamp.com if you want to listen to it. We want to support them. We already talked about that. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow because we don't have time for that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. So we are now here to talk about Celebration. And I wanted to hear specifically from Theo because, and I'm going to bring up Theo. So let's give Theo a warm round of applause. Hello.
What up,
Hi.
Theo?
Hi, Theo. Look at you. It's like we're matching. Yes. Yes, I don't know what's wrong with my setup today. I'm a little lower than you guys, but it's okay. I had to put on some heels to go up. So, Theo, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us to talk about Celebration. And before I forget, I just want to say it was so amazing to actually meet you in the real world, in the physical space in Minneapolis, of all places. And you were there with your friend Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
See, so it was so great to meet both of you. And we got a lot of, and Sydney is here.
Hi,
Thank you for
Sydney.
being here. Yes, and we got a lot of welcome Theos and everything. And so talk to us about your experience at Celebration this year. Now, and give us some context like this. I know this was definitely your first celebration, but was this your first time ever going to Minneapolis?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was my first time in Minneapolis. I was very excited when I got the email that I won the sweepstakes.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. You won the sweepstakes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. I don't think you were.
yeah.
I don't think you were on this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Theo won the sweepstakes, which was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was very excited to finally go to Minneapolis and go to Paisley Park because that's been on like my bucket list for many years now. And I was very excited to go with my friend Sydney. So I flew in from Seattle and she flew in from Dallas and we met there.
What?
Yeah.
I remember now. I remember you saying you're from Seattle. Man, okay.
Yeah.
I'm all ears, brother. Go ahead. I love it.
Yeah.
This is great.
So actually, we actually flew in on Wednesday because we didn't want to miss anything on Thursday because there's stuff going on Thursday morning, like the listening session. And so we flew in on Wednesday, and our hotel was actually across the street from First Avenue, which was really cool, and down the street from the mural. And we took Wednesday as the opportunity to like see the city a bit. We rode around on our Lime scooters to different spots. Like we went to we took pictures at First Avenue. We took pictures at the music wall, and we stopped by Electric Fetus, which was exciting to do. Yeah, and then Thursday we had the listening session, which was really fun. Some of the standout tracks that we got to listen to. Also, I brought a little notebook.
Oh, wow.
While I was at Celebration, I was taking notes because our phones were locked up when we were in Paisley. Yeah, and so some of the standout tracks.
Can I ask how old are you, Theo?
23.
Man, love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And City's 19. So we were probably the youngest people at Celebration.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
So some of my favorite tracks that we listened to during the listening session was No Changes, which was recorded on July 9th, 1987. And then his cover of All the King's Horses, which is which they didn't mention it during the listening session, but it's a cover of the Aretha Franklin song, which we listened to after we looked into it. Calabama was really fun. Which was a song recorded it was June 3rd, 2003. So it was like for an album before Musicology. And some of the songs were later put on Musicology. And the demo of And God Created Woman was a highlight as well, because he went into saying the chorus of 3 Chains of Gold, which is a surprise because they didn't say anything beforehand. They just went into it on the piano. And that was fun to hear. Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I am bugging out, man. You said you're 23, and somebody mentioned in the thing, man. Go back to Theo. Go back to the fact that you got that going on back there in the room like that at 23 in 2024. Man, much props and salute to you. I love it. But I wanted to ask you, as you were talking about the things, when you first got there, how was it? Did they greet you or something? Like, I'm just curious.
Sort of, kind of. Well, we got there, and we got right in line outside Paisley. And we're actually me and Sydney were in line behind Casey Rain, who we met
Okay.
for the first time. And and I think the only person from like the Paisley team was Charles Spicer, who we ran into when we were in line for lunch on Thursday, and he just like popped out and just said like congratulations on one thing, but that was about it. And it wasn't a big deal.
What was it like walking, seeing Paisley Park for the first time?
Oh, that was an experience. Like on Thursday when we were like being ushered into the sound stage for the listening session, like I was like trying to like take it all in, but we're they're trying to get started, so we had to walk in quickly. So yeah, and my tour was on Sunday, which I wish it was a longer tour. It was a condensed tour. It was like about like 20 minutes, and we went to like 4 different areas and had like 5 minutes each in each space. So yeah, I would have loved to see more of Paisley Park, but just being there was like such an honor. I was very happy to be there.
So there were a lot of performances throughout, all of the days. So which, performances really resonated with you personally?
Definitely the MPG was definitely the highlight for me, because they play a lot of the fun songs that I enjoy, and seeing Tony M, like I didn't know he was going to be there. It was very surprising. We could we were like up towards the front, and so like we could, even though he had sunglasses on, I could feel that we were making eye contact with Tony M, which was surreal.
Yeah, I really loved what he was wearing. It was like this like long white, I don't even know what you call that, but Tony M was looking like sharp, particularly. Yeah, very, very cool. Yes, and definitely salute to the next power generation. So how was the Revolution show for you, and like going to First Avenue for the first time?
Oh, it was very exciting going in. It was smaller than I expected. I was like, this is like a really small stage, and we were on like the ramp on the side of the floor, me and Sydney, and but like we had a great view of the Revolution, and then I had a great time during that show. It was very loud because the space is so small. Yes, Sydney. Oh yes, we did meet Prince's nephew Johnny. We were I think it was like Thursday night. We were sitting at the restaurant at the hotel, and he was sat at the table next to us, and we didn't even realize that it was him until he like introduced us, because we were wearing like Prince shirts and stuff. So that was a fun experience. And we also one morning we ran into Billy Sparks during breakfast, which was fun. We got to take a picture with him, and that was a exciting experience as well. But back to the First Avenue. Being there, it was surreal. And I was just jamming out to all of the songs, and I was like, and each time they started playing a new song, I was frantically trying to write it down. I was like trying to do it in the dark, so like my handwriting was a little off. But but that was a great time. Yeah, they did start a little late, but we had a good dance party where they're playing music videos on the screen beforehand. So we were just jamming out. And then it came on.
I really love the videos, because I heard that on Saturday night that the crowd didn't get the videos, and I thought that was like a fun way to just not kill the time, but actually enjoy it, because they were playing a lot of Prince related songs, not all of them, obviously, but it was just so great to see the videos. It was in First Avenue. And just like you, Theo, like when I went to First Avenue for the first time, because I, thought of it in context of the film, and the film, it just looks so big. And when I went in there, I was like, what? This is like so small. It's like, so it's interesting that we had the same experience going into First Avenue. But I think the film just made it larger than life, because, it's so much, so many amazing performances on that.
Theo, is that a Prince themed like comforter on your bed? That's wow.
Yes, that's the one with like Prince's like the different logos.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like, and then I have like the anthology blanket behind me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, definitely a Prince room.
And I love though that you got Tina Turner in there too, though.
Oh yes, yeah. Tina was my first love.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where do we get more of you though? Right? The hope for the next generation.
Actually, I just discovered Tina Turner when I think I was 3 years old, when she was performing for Oprah's 50th birthday, like that TV special.
Yeah.
And I used to watch that religiously, and I would learn the routine. Like I'd watch the backup dancers and learn the routine when I was 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
I became
your parents, man.
I became the party trick. They would just put on some Tina Turner and I'll do the routine.
Hey, yo, get on in here and show them your Tina.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Tina's one of my favorites. So I have I also have a Prince room, but another room I have Tina. So I have a Tina room. You guys just don't see it. So I'm so happy to see that you also love Tina, because it's important to maintain and her legacy as well, like moving forward. So what were any, like, did you have any, like, so before you got to Minneapolis, like, what were you most looking forward to? And then, like, what were any surprises, or epiphanies you might have had while you were there that you weren't expecting?
I was definitely excited to be at Paisley, like, and go on the tour. That was, I think I was looking forward to the most, just to be in his space. And just like, I was very much looking forward to that. And then, going to First Avenue I was excited for that, because, it's so iconic. And but also, I was just excited just to like be with Sydney, like, and experience that together, like that. Like that made the trip for me, was being able to experience it with her. Yeah.
When you say being in his space, I'm just curious, how did it? What is your thoughts on Paisley Park itself, going through the tour and seeing different things and being able to see some of the things in real life that went into these albums and songs that you've heard?
Yeah. No. The tour. I was like, when we were staying in the lobby with the cloud wall and the symbol eyes, and I was just like, this. I just kept looking around, like, I'm like, Sydney, all weekend we kept saying, like, we're going to Prince's house. We're going to Prince's house. And definitely. We in the sound stage. They had some Purple Rain era costumes on display, and so and on one side they had all like the Revolution's costumes, well, for the from the American Music Awards, from I think '85, I believe. I just stood there for like a good 2 minutes, like, while we're waiting for the screening to start, just staring at it. I'm like, that's Prince right there.
Yeah.
And what was the experience like? So one of my favorite things on earth to do is to watch Prince films with other Prince fans. So what was it like, experiencing Purple Rain in a room full of Prince fans?
Oh, that was a really fun experience, because I was also excited to see it on the big screen, because during the weekend, like, kept being like where were you when Purple Rain came out? I was like, I wasn't even a thought. So like to like experience like in a theater setting was very exciting for me and Sydney. And then we had some people around us that were reciting some of the lines, and like we're all just having a really good time and jamming out during the the musical performances.
Yeah. And then what did you think of just like, being to hear from Morris Day and then later see him perform? I'm sure, I mean, that was amazing for me. So what about you?
Oh yeah, that he's so cool. Just like his vibe is just, yeah, he's just really cool. And yeah, and like, yeah, seeing him on stage was probably the highlight, like more than when he came out for the panel discussion. Yeah, because just to see him in his element performing those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said earlier that for me, Morris Day's conversation was really touching to me. I wasn't really expecting that, but his conversation was actually the one that moved me the most. Yeah, I almost cried. I mean, it was, you could just, really feel that he missed his brother, from the way that he was talking. So that was, really poignant for sure. So I'm assuming, but I'm going to ask you, do you want to come back to Minneapolis? Do you want to come back to Paisley Park?
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely want to go and just do like the full tour and get that experience. Because it was a little rushed and I was trying to like write down as many, like, because, I have bad memory. So I was just trying to write down as many things as possible so I could be able to remember what I saw. Yeah. So definitely like, yeah, just like more relaxed, like sprawled out tour would be nice.
Yeah.
And definitely have more time to experience more things in the city as well. Because our schedule is so jam packed. Like, we only really got the chance to see Minneapolis on Wednesday, the day before our celebration started.
Did you happen to make it to Bunkers that Sunday?
No, actually, I was so exhausted at that point. We decided not to go.
Yeah, no worries at all. So, remind us, like, again, like actually, what was your first Prince album or Prince song? Like, how did you get into Prince? Like, what was
so I got into Prince, I think it was my junior year of high school. We were assigned a group project on like a specific decade. And my group got the 1980s. And my portion of the presentation was on like pop culture of the 1980s. And so I like, film and music and television. So yeah, so I saw the name Prince for the first time when I was looking at like iconic albums from that time. I was like, who's this Prince guy? Oh yes, we did. We got rained during the block party. Yeah, and yeah, so like, yeah, who's this Prince? I said the first album I listened to was Purple Rain, because I'm like, I was like the most well known, and then I like loved it on first listen, and then I went back and listened to 1989. I was like, okay, I'm really digging this guy, and so I was like, okay, let's start from the beginning, and I listened to, his discography through.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's so great. And Barbara Y. So, for those who have never been to Minneapolis, what is Bunkers? Bunkers is a club, and Dr. Mambo's Combo is a band that plays there. And it usually has some configuration of some musicians who have performed with Prince. For a long time, Michael B. was in Dr. Mambo's Combo. I don't know if he still is, but also Sonny T is currently, he was just there on Sunday, as well as Margie Cox, also known as Tamara from Tamara and the Scene, who Jesse Johnson produced. She in particular performed Addiction, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, off of the first Tamara and the Scene album that Jesse Johnson produced. And Prince used to, when Prince was with us, he used to pop up and, he would be in Bunkers because it was a local club. So that's what Bunkers is all about. Thank you for your question, Barbara Y.
I got one for
Sure.
Bill. So after this experience, getting to go, and it's just, yes, younger fan getting into it, actually winning the sweepstakes, going to the Mecca itself, and all of that. Now that you've come home, how do you feel? Like, are you even more into it, or like, I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely have a different relationship with the music now, because I was listening to re-listening to some albums, and I was like, wait, actually, I like this song a lot more than I thought. And like, yeah, just hearing from all the people that he worked with, like Dr. Susan Rogers and The Revolution and Morris, like, yeah, I definitely feel a deeper connection to his music, specifically.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did your friend, I'm sorry,
Sydney.
Sydney,
Yeah.
what was her, was she kind of right there with you with all that?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, we were giddy for majority of the weekend. Yeah, we were just very excited to be there. Yeah.
Was there like a performance wise? Because I don't think you said you saw Prince live. But was there any of the performances that really just when you heard the music live like that? Was there any thoughts or feelings that you remember?
Yeah, definitely during the Revolution show. Like hearing like Let's Go Crazy and Computer Blue, which is like my favorite from the album. And hearing Wendy start to play the first chords of Purple Rain, I was like, oh, okay, this is serious. And then some of the 90s songs that were played during the MPG set, I was very excited to hear, because I really love the 90s era Prince. We love the 80s, but yeah, definitely me and my group of younger Prince friends, we definitely enjoy the 90s quite a bit.
Can I ask you a question about that? What is it that speaks to you? You say the 90s. What is it in that sound or whatever it is that you somehow feel, identify more with? I'm just curious.
I would say definitely felt, I don't know, like I definitely just love the MPG as a band, and yeah, like definitely like the Glam Slam show is just like one of the greatest. Yeah, and then I just like really love the energy. Like there's like a different energy to the 90s music than in the 80s. Like they're both great, but there's just a certain energy to the songs, especially with like the Gold Experience, which is my favorite Prince album. Like just love those songs.
Amazing. Well, what are your thoughts about the Come album, since you love the Gold Experience?
Oh, Come is definitely a top 10 album for me. I really enjoy it. There's some standout tracks on that album. Like I love the title track, like because it's just so long but doesn't feel long.
Yeah.
And like Dark and Space and Fairmount, all of these songs are so I just really love them.
Yeah, they're really great songs. So there is a question in here for you, if I can find it, because there's been so many comments from El Dabara. Where are you? Why can I not see? Here we go. I'd like to ask Leo if he felt emotional about being in Prince's house, or has enough time passed?
Being there, I didn't feel it. It didn't hit me until we were it was like after the tour when we were in the gift shop, and like it just all of a sudden just hit me. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, like I just experienced being in Prince's house. And I didn't feel super emotional until it was like over. I was like, oh, okay. Now I have to say goodbye to Paisley Park.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Which or see you later instead. So I'll be back.
I love that. Yeah, I always get sad whenever I leave Paisley Park, but I love that. See you later. Yeah, that's really fantastic. So is there anything else, Michael, you'd like to ask, or Theo, anything you'd like to say about your first experience at Paisley Park or in Minneapolis?
It was just a wonderful experience overall. Even with like the bumps in the road. Yes, we did. We did cry. Yeah. even the bumps in the road, like things starting behind schedule, and in the moment, it's like like slightly annoying, but overall, like my experience was the things we got to experience was something that I can't even verbalize. Like they're just so incredible. Like be able to just be there. Um, yeah. And I was very excited. Oh yeah, I forgot to say I was very excited to meet D'Angela in person. Oh, you got my rock ready for you.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
About yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Yeah. We actually Thursday, because I wasn't sure if you were there yet or not. I kept telling Sydney, we gotta find D'Angela. But I don't think you were there yet. But yeah, we gotta meet you during the kickoff party.
Yeah, I was there. I didn't come to the party. I didn't come to the dance party. I like to dance by myself. I don't know, like
Yeah,
I'm not used to dancing
understandable.
in front of other people. So yeah, but it was so great to meet you and Sydney both in person, and I was so elated when you won the celebration sweepstakes. I was like, Theo deserves that. So like the universe conspired and got you there. And Sydney, I think that is absolutely amazing that you got to experience that. It's nothing like being in Paisley Park. I mean, that feeling is, you can't describe it. It's indescribable. And I remember the first time that, I went, and I couldn't even go inside for a long time. I just like stood outside and just looked at the building because it represented so much, So I hope that you and Sydney both and everybody else will continue to go to Paisley Park, because there's no other, like, it's hard to explain. Like, I didn't really feel right until I got to Paisley Park. I mean, it was great being in First Avenue. It was great being in the State Theater because the State Theater was beautiful, but it was not until Paisley Park where I felt like I did what I needed to do when I come to Minneapolis. Like, it's all about Paisley Park, because I personally feel the spirit. I know some people say that they don't feel Prince's spirit, particularly if they were there during the time that Prince did his own celebrations, but I purposely never went to Minneapolis when Prince was alive on purpose, because I knew that I would never leave. So that was like one non-negotiable, if you watch The Bear, that I had to have, non-negotiable, never go to Minneapolis. So I didn't go to Minneapolis until Prince transitioned, because I just knew I would live in Minneapolis forever.
One last thing I got for you, Theo, just to ask.
Okay.
Again, you got to go, all expenses paid, but now that you've gone, do you feel like I would have gone on my own? Like, is it worth everything to go? You've gotten to see it in the way that you did, but would you be like, I have no problem, I'm going next year or whatever?
Yes and no.
Yeah, be honest.
Yeah, no. So maybe I would wait, because this year it was so Purple Rain focused that I don't know, that there were other anniversaries Come and Musicology and Artificial Age that weren't really acknowledged. And so and I'm not sure what past celebrations have been like. But I definitely, if it was a more generalized theme wise, I would probably because I want to celebrate Prince, but not just Purple Rain Prince. I want to celebrate all Prince, which is why I would want to come back to do the tour, just to get that full immersive experience. Yeah, and experience the Minneapolis more.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the one thing, the one thing that I did like is that they did show the sound check from a musicology show. And for me, my favorite moment was actually the Landover, Maryland footage out of everything, just because for me, it's always about Prince live, right? And especially for people who have never seen Prince live, his concert documentation is the closest you'll ever get. But seeing that Landover footage is so unlike a lot of the other Purple Rain shows that I've seen, that it was like seeing a Purple Rain concert for the first time. And I loved what he had on when he came out, like that fur trimmed coat, which is also not very Purple. I mean, it's from the Purple Rain era, but it was such a great show. And for those of you who don't know, like the videos for I Would Die For You and Baby I'm a Star are from the Landover show. So I really wish that we could have seen the entire show instead of it being cut off, which is what they've always done at Celebration. It's not anything new. But since they were trying out a lot of new things, I was hoping that they would possibly show us the whole show, particularly for that one. So that was great. And yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. I'm one of those like deep dive people. Theo, like I like, like but it's okay to do multiple ones, like it would have been great to have like maybe a deeper dive into musicology also while celebrating 84. So yeah, and I know some people who they don't need that, meaning like it doesn't matter if it's an anniversary or not. But it's just Prince has so much material that I think you have to have some kind of framework in order to ingest it. And I just think that the anniversaries are one way. So as you know, we're going to have, actually, let me go to that slide really quickly. Well, actually, before I go to that slide, I just wanted to say and give thanks to Funkatopia, which I finally got to meet Mr. Christopher and Jeff in person for the first time at Celebration this year. It was a blast to actually meet them in person. And they've been really holding it down this year with a lot of their programming. And they did almost like a 3-hour recap of the celebration. We're not going to do a 3-hour recap of the celebration because we already done 2 hours of what did Prince do this week. But we just want to thank them for their continued work. And again, this is in the playlist for the week. But I also just want to remind everyone that I'm getting very excited about the Com30 virtual symposium that's going to be happening on a Saturday and Sunday in August. And yes, so I hope that you will join us. And then we got another question for Theo. What did you think of the Purple Rain Broadway panel?
Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed the Broadway panel and getting like a deeper look into what they have planned for the Broadway musical. Yeah, and yeah, I wasn't like I didn't know they were gonna do like a preview performance. So they did like 3 songs, with like the Morris and Jerome and Apollonia and the and yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised by the Broadway musical panel because like when they first announced the musical, I was like a little skeptical. Like I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to translate. But no, like I definitely feel more like what's the word? I feel like it's in great hands. Like after hearing them discuss like what they are working on. Yeah.
How was that performance? What song did they do?
They let me look at my notes.
Yeah.
They did.
I can't remember the first one, but they did Be With You.
Yeah,
and
so
they did Glamorous Life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So yeah, they did Jungle Love and 777 9311. Like it was like a medley of that, and then Take Me With You was like it was a duet with the Apollonia character who was outstanding. Really enjoyed her performance. And then, like it started with just piano, and then it started like as the song progressed, it like slowly built up, which I like enjoyed. It was like becoming part of like the storytelling of the relationship. And then I was surprised to hear the Glamorous Life performed by Apollonia. With Sydney, I looked at each other like, oh, okay. Yeah, because they were saying how they wanted to expand Apollonia's story, like so it's not just about the kid, but more so like a little more of a balance. And so I guess so they're using the glamorous life, like that song, to help tell Apollonia's story.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The person who performed those songs, I know someone knows her name, used probably in the chat. Do you have that in your notes? But like her delivery was amazing, especially for "Take Me With You." It was she really sung that song. So I don't know if the people that we saw are going to be continuing with the production. That wasn't clear.
Right.
So I don't know if they're just like stand-ins for now, but I hope that she, that she's Apollonia. Because
I hope so too. She was fantastic.
Yeah, she really was. Me personally, I didn't like the portrayal of Jerome. I think the guy who performed him was over the top, and it was too blaxploitationist. And I know that, like in theater circles, you have to kind of be more
animated
and theatrical. But I was like, if Jerome was here, he would not be happy.
What do you mean? Like, can you give us an example?
Like it was a little more Flavor Flav than Jerome.
Yeah.
Like it was just it was really over the top. Yeah, and then the guy playing Morris, like he was sort of like a little more of a caricature of Morris, like of the character of Morris than how cool and like just Morris like plays the character. He was a little more energetic than, but he sounded great. And I think they're still workshopping the musical, and it's still developing.
Yeah. So I think this is a good comment from Chris that they actually said, the playwright said that there are 9 songs on the Purple Rain album and that's not enough for a Broadway show. So we've been given access to the entire catalog. So I like that they're going to be bringing in more Prince songs. But like you, when they were talking about Apollonia and Apollonia 6, I just assumed we were going to hear like something off of Apollonia 6, and I got so excited. Like to hear an Apollonia 6 song live, with real instruments and stuff. But then they played the Glamorous Life, and I was also, but I totally understand. I guess why they did it. But I'm hoping that they work on Jerome's character in particular, because that needs to be corrected. Yeah.
Was the music with the band or was it pre-recorded? Could you tell?
No, it was live.
Live band. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
That was actually one of the surprises for me, because like they brought out the musical director and then what they call the book
writer,
and then the director, who had mad energy. Like I wish I had their energy.
She got out of her chair several times.
Yeah, she got out of her chair. She was hyping the crowd up. Like she had
great energy.
Great energy. And so and the curtain was behind them. So I just thought it was a panel that they were just going to talk about. But then when they raised, the musical director got up and he joined the band and he started playing with them. I thought it was really amazing that they did that. And they played not just one song, but they literally did play 4 songs. So that was really, really awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad they brought out Bobby Z, and who is helping with the musical, like he's giving input, and so is Morris. Yeah, and so to have people that were close to Prince at different periods in his life involved, I think it's really good, and that made me feel better about what is coming from the musical.
Yeah, and
curious when they get to play Prince, how that character comes off.
Yeah, they said they haven't cast the kid yet. So hopefully,
interesting.
They got big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Very, yes.
Yeah.
And just responding to Barbara Y, we didn't have any opportunity to give feedback for the play during celebration, but usually, if I remember correctly, but I haven't been checking my email, Have we gotten a survey from Paisley Park about Celebration yet? Because I think last year we did,
sure.
and we were
I'll
able
have to look.
we could give feedback last year, but I don't think I've seen that yet. Yes, we're talking about the musical, Maria. And let's see. Chris is saying the actors don't resemble the real life people from the movie if the current performers end up being in the final production. I'm actually okay with that. Like it's more the attitude, I think, is important, and obviously the delivery of the songs. So I think it was Olga who gave us the name, and I think it was Rachel Webb. Yeah.
Oh,
Rachel Webb was amazing, really extraordinary.
Yeah, she was the highlight of that.
Most
panel for
definitely.
sure.
Yeah. She was on fire. Like she literally transformed Take Me With You into like probably my favorite song off of Purple Rain. And that's but I'm exaggerating. Computer Blue will always be the one, but it really opened my eyes to how amazing that song is and how brilliant of a songwriter Prince is. And I still can't believe he's not in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, but that was just
yeah.
All right. So we're at our time. Thank you so much, Theo, for taking time out of your day to talk to us about your experience, especially on such short notice. It's been a crazy week. So I was like, I'm so sorry, Theo, that I've asked you so last minute, but I just knew that you normally are here on Saturdays and that you'd be open to come and talk to us about your experience. Because I think it's really important that we hear from you, you know, because like I love hearing from people who are experiencing things for the first time, because it allows some of us, you know, who have, you know, maybe might be jaded with what we're doing or seeing to just experience it through someone else's eyes. So thank you so much, as well as Sydney for all the comments in the chat. And again, it was such a pleasure to meet you as well, Sydney. And yeah, so we got a lot of thanks. Theo, yes, and yes, Computer Blue Hallways. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right, so I can take you off the screen. If that's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Bye. Okay, so just really quickly, we have a company playlist with a lot of songs in it this week. We have the originals 100 miles per hour, Maserati's version, also a live version of 100 miles per hour by Maserati from the Under the Cherry Moon premiere party, the entire Purple Rain album, but obviously you want the Atmos version if you can get it. The Family's Mutiny, Prince's Mutiny, live versions of Mutiny, the same for High Fashion, and lots more, because it's more than just what you see here. And we will be back next week for pages 351 to 356. And we are going to be talking about Desire, High Fashion, Mutiny, Susanna's Pajamas. And we're also going to be talking about Erotic City Remix and a little bit more about When Doves Cry. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. We hope that you will join us, and we hope that you will go back and watch last week's episode with Arthur Seeley and Ricky if you missed it. And please remember to like, subscribe, share, especially this episode, because we had the amazing Theo came on to talk about their experience. Thank you so much again, Theo, for being with us. We really, really appreciate it. All right, Michael Dean, how are you going to take us out?
Hey, work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.